Hey, this is Liam from Tinnitus Treatment, and right now I'm going to break down exactly how long does tinnitus last. And I think this is I've been focusing a lot in this channel on presenting to people the actual system. So the system to getting rid of tinnitus, and I've just been telling people, stick with the system, it's going to work, because it has worked very, very well for lots of people who've got tinnitus from noise, trauma, stress, antibiotics, drugs, prescription medication, chemotherapy, you name it, doesn't matter, okay? Tinnitus is a symptom, not a problem. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to present to you a theory which I'm actually proving at the moment, which is very, very exciting, I think, because no one's presented anything like this ever before, and that's not bullshit either, it's completely true, about how long tinnitus lasts, okay? And it has to do with past experiences and diet and the mental state and how much effort you put into this as well. So you need to understand 4 crucial things, okay? So, the first thing is hunger and what hunger actually is, okay? The second thing is the nervous system. I'm just going to move this over here. And the third thing is pH levels, so acidity and alkalinity. These all correlate, and when they're out of whack, and when you don't understand them, but when you do understand them, you realize that they cause, you see down there, tinnitus, okay? So, excuse me. Let's get into this because it's very exciting, it's very complex, so you might need to understand, you might need to watch this video a few times, okay? So, what is hunger? Okay, so first of all, obviously, hunger pains, right? It's when you don't eat. So, let's break down exactly what happens with hunger, and let's break down how the fight or flight mechanism works with hunger. So here's what happens. You don't eat for 10 hours, right? You get hunger pains. It's kind of hard to sleep. You know, maybe you are at a friend's house and they have no food, and you wake up the next day and you're not really that hungry anymore. But as the day goes on, you do get kind of hungry, okay? And so you wake up in the morning, so you go to sleep hungry, it's hard to sleep, wake up next morning, you're not hungry anymore. And then you're hungry later that day. Let's break down exactly what's happening there and the actual science behind it. So when you're hungry, your body elicits a stress response. Okay? It's a default mechanism, okay? Because obviously you need food to survive. Same thing goes with thirst, but it's more prevalent with hunger, even though water is more important than food, okay? So what happens is your fight or flight system engages, okay? It's a sympathetic nervous system. It's called fight or flight, but it's used for various things, and your body hijacks this system. Okay, and how it does that is it secretes what's called cortisol, which is a hormone from your adrenal glands, which is basically your awareness hormone, okay? So it's one of them. It's not the one, but it's one of them, okay? And what it does is it makes you very focused. That's why it's hard to sleep when you're hungry. So what's the science behind that? If you didn't eat for one day, your body would secrete X amount of cortisol. If you didn't eat for 2 days, your body would secrete double that. And then double that, and then double that. Not exactly double, but it would secrete more, okay, and would build up. What's your body doing? Your body doesn't want you to sleep. Your body doesn't want you to be lazy. Your body wants you to be aware, so when the next opportunity to eat comes up, you can take it. Remember, we're running our nervous system, our brainstem as well, and our amygdala is running on old, obsolete wiring, okay? Obsolete wiring, and that wiring was built into us thousands of years ago on the savannah when food was scarce and we wouldn't eat for days. Okay, so what happens is, as I said, as it goes on, you secrete more cortisol. Your fight or flight mechanism kicks in until you eat, and then it goes through the floor and it just disappears to an extent. Okay, and then you sleep and just do nothing until you get hungry. That's the first thing that happens, and then your body goes. And then your body secretes the hormone and engages you, and you want to eat, okay? Very important. If you didn't get that, just rewind it and watch this. Cortisol gets secreted from your adrenal glands to build your awareness, okay? You would notice from tinnitus, fight or flight. Okay, let's make sure this is recording. Good. Your nervous system, okay? So what's happening is, in today's era of living, when we eat every day, and among other things, which I'm going to break down in just a second, what's happening is we manually override this and we engage the fight or flight mechanism, which secretes cortisol, manually. Okay? How do we do that? What's going on? Sugar, long distance jogging, prescription medications, and stress. Okay? all force your adrenal glands to secrete cortisol because it's a perceived threat. Sugar and medication is not a perceived threat. That is wreaking havoc on your body. First tip of this video, stop taking sugar and speak to your doctor about stopping taking your medication. I'm not going to tell you to take medication because your withdrawals from Ativan, Xanax, Zoloft can be ridiculous and people get very sick from that. It's not a joke. It's addictive. So talk to your doctor about getting off your medication, okay? Jogging, long distances, marathons, humans are not designed to do that. Humans are designed for high burst, well now it's called high intensity interval training, but high burst action. We'd walk and walk and walk for days. We'd see prey and then bang, we're ready to just run after it, throw a spear at it, whatever you want to call it, okay? And stress is obviously, most of the time it's false evidence appearing real from fear. What's stress, okay? Oh no, I'm balding, I'm getting fat, my girlfriend dumped me. You get cancer, your parent dies, your dog dies, your girlfriend dumps you, you posted an embarrassing photo on Facebook, you didn't get the job you wanted, you worried all night about, you lose sleep. Sleep is another one, I should have put that in there, sorry. Sleep is huge because the circadian rhythm affects cortisol secretion, because when I spoke before, let me double back for a second, when I spoke before about the fact that you wake up and you're not hungry, you go to bed hungry and you wake up and you're not hungry, that's because a couple of hours before you wake up, your body actually gives you all the adrenaline that you need to wake up and just instantly start going hunting for food, okay, and stay engaged on food, okay? That's what's happening there. But if you mess with that and you eat late at night or you don't get a good night's sleep or you sleep in, it's all out of whack, okay? So, does that make sense? So what's happening is back in the good old days of the savannah when life was much harder than it is now, but we're more stressed than we ever were, figure that out, right? Well, I don't know, I wasn't there so I don't know, but I can imagine it's pretty much similar. What's happening is we're even more stressed out now than we were back then, or so I'm assuming, okay? So we're secreting more cortisol and among other things, but basically cortisol, okay? So what's happening with that? What happens when we secrete more cortisol, and how is this related to tinnitus? This matters for noise trauma tinnitus as well. pH levels. What's pH levels? Now we're speaking about the pH levels in your blood, not your stomach, because your stomach has to be acidic to break down food. And sometimes if it's not acidic enough, then you get problems, but that's irrelevant to this video, it really is. Your pH level is on a spectrum of 1 to 14. This is acidity and this is alkalinity. If you're like anywhere down here and down, you'll die. If you're anywhere here and up, you'll die. Now, you can't go and do all as like try and force yourself to do this in one day and kill yourself. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you just can't do it. But it's just you will die. But it's not going to happen. So what happens is you want to be more alkaline. You don't want to be acidic, okay? But when you do this, and it's more specifically about these two, jogging and medication, okay, you get more on the acidic side. And that is called lactic acidosis, okay? Google it. It's called lactic acidosis, which causes a whole bunch of problems, okay? The main problem is it causes stress within your autonomic nervous system. That's the system that regulates lungs, heart, kidney function, basically everything behind the scenes, okay? Everything that's happening behind the scenes that's designed to keep you alive, that never stops. Your heart never stops beating, your lungs never stop breathing, okay? Those are the two most important. What happens is they start to not work as well, and that's why people say, I have tinnitus and I can hear my heartbeat in my ear. A side effect of lactic acidosis is you get expansion within your capillaries and arteries. So what happens is your heart has to, let's imagine that I've got a straw, this is a straw, okay? And I'm trying to blow water to you, and I'm trying to hit you with this. I'd probably go, and I'd probably be able to hit you, right? Or maybe like, I'd be able to blow water and hit you, okay? But let's imagine this glass, let's imagine at the bottom was hollow, and I tried to go and blow this to hit you, I would have to go like as hard as I could, and I probably wouldn't even hit you. What happens is when you have lactic acidosis, your capillaries and arteries, the walls of them, they expand. Obviously not this severe, but you get the idea. It gets from this size to this size. So your heart has to beat a whole lot harder. A whole lot harder. Okay? So you hear your heart rate in your ear. And that's what pulsatile tinnitus is. It's lactic acidosis. It's because you eat bad and you're stressed out. And it's not because you're hungry, but it's because it's these ones here. Okay? And then what happens is, and here's what we're all here for, right? You get tinnitus as a side effect. It's a symptom. It's your body telling you, oh my God, you're going to die. And I got to be honest, this is true. Tinnitus is not your biggest problem. And I know you think it is, but think about it. Different issues have different visual ways of your body to tell you something's wrong. You get rashes, you get vision problems, you get hair loss, you get things like smelly urine, you get diarrhea, okay? This is the most important one. If you have a problem with your stomach, you get diarrhea, because it's not working as properly, and you'll know that something's wrong. You eat Mexican or something, right? Bad food, dairy, something's wrong. Your stomach, if that stops working, if it gets compromised to some extent, it can still sort of work. If your heart gets compromised to some sort of extent, you get a fucking heart attack and you die. Now, this is all linked to your genetics, but I hope this makes sense, okay? So then your ears start ringing, because what could be more obvious and more clear that something is wrong than hearing or shh all day long? Something is wrong. And people say, I get so, worried and freaked out about everything. Lactic acidosis affects your mental state too. And most of the time you'll do things to distract yourself from a tinnitus, like drink alcohol or take medication, or you'll try and work out a lot to distract yourself, and you're making it worse. Excuse me. I'm dry fasting at the moment, so my throat is a Sahara Desert. That was really professional. Anyway, you're making it worse, okay? I just sold fasting. I know. I want to fast now because Liam just coughed his guts up. But you're making it worse, okay? You're making it a lot worse by doing these things to distract yourself, okay? So, for example, taking medications, going and exercising to try and distract yourself and going for jogs, and drinking alcohol and trying to go out for dinner with friends to distract yourself. You're making it worse, buddy. Okay? Now we're going to get to the fourth point, which is what I call the tipping point, okay? And so now that we understand all this, and maybe this took me a long time to figure out, but maybe now we're going to go to step number 4. So I'm going to pause the camera and wipe this out and do it, because this is what I call the tipping point, okay? And I think it was Malcolm Gladwell who wrote that book. So thank you, Malcolm. And we're going to talk about what it takes to reverse this and what happens when you reverse this. And it's going to be about fasting, okay? So I'm very excited. Let's do it. Okay, so here we are. We're on a tipping point. So the main thing that's going to get rid of your tinnitus, in my opinion, there are other ways to get rid of tinnitus that help reduce lactic acidosis and the central nervous system and stimulation and fight or flight. Things like meditation and cranial psychotherapy have been proven to work, okay? All I care about is results. I don't care about theories. And when I say that, if I see a theory, I'm still going to try it. I'm not going to disregard anything, and I know that cranial psychotherapy works, so that's one of the ways to do it, okay? Let's talk about the way that I promote, that I use with people and they get sickening results. It's disgusting in a good way, regardless of how they got tinnitus. Okay, so we're going to talk about fasting, and we're going to use, here's the thing. So we're talking about how long does tinnitus last, right? So here's the thing. When you do your first fast, most of the time your tinnitus is going to get worse, okay? And then when you eat something, it's going to get better straight away. And what are you going to think? Fasting is stupid. Liam is wrong. Tinnitus is for life. I don't care if you think that I'm stupid, but I want you to think that fasting is a good thing to do, and I want you to know that tinnitus is not for life. That's very important for me and what I'm doing here, that you understand that, okay? Call me names, like draw a dick on my face while I'm asleep. I can cop that. I can't cop you ruining your life, and I don't even know you, but I see a lot of myself and a lot of people who email me. I just can't cop that. It's not okay. It's not going to happen. Not on my watch. Okay? So, what's happening? Why does your tinnitus get worse when you fast for the first time for like 3 days and then you eat something? What's going on there? So, first thing we have to realize, okay? There's 3 factors to getting rid of tinnitus, okay? When you fast, there's a process called autophagy, okay? And fasting does so many things related to tinnitus. It reduces inflammation, okay? Now, inflammation is basically a side effect, or very correlated to lactic acidosis, which is caused by diet, medication, exercising too much, and stress, okay? Very highly linked. The other thing that fasting does is it puts your cells in a state of autophagy, which is when your old cells get eaten by your new cells. That's very important for people who've damaged their kidneys, their liver, and all that sort of stuff, okay? Now, it does a whole lot of other things, but that's very important for getting rid of tinnitus. And the other thing it does is it fixes the acidity level in your body. You can fix the acidity level in your body by just not eating. That's the point, because when you eat all these foods you're eating, this is the other thing, it matters what you eat as well as how often you eat. But when you eat bread, rice, pasta, crackers, some forms of oatmeal, cooked foods, overly eating cooked foods, alcohol, wine, cheese, dairy, your acidity levels go through the roof, okay? So, let me try and break this down, and I really hope that I haven't missed anything, because this is very, very important. So get ready to press Control Command 4 on your Mac and take a screenshot. So we've got dead cells, okay? And we got the fight or flight mechanism, which is secreting cortisol, which you don't want, okay? And then you've got the pH levels. So, okay, so what we've got here, and I'm not going to make a joke about Pac-Man, but what we've got here is we've got the dead cells and healthy cells. We've got the fight or flight mechanism here, which is on a spectrum, okay? Because it's secreting cortisol or it's not secreting cortisol. It's really as simple as that. So we've got fear and we've got no fear. We'll just say here. We've got the pH levels. We've got alkalinity. And we've got acidity. Okay, so fear, no fear, alkalinity. We want to be here, remember? We don't want to be here. We want to be here. And we've got dead cells, and this is just a pie chart to show the cells, okay? We've got the dead cells, and then we've got the healthy cells, okay? So let me explain what happens when you do your first fast, okay? So, just to wind it back for a second. So let's go back to what we were saying on the very first part of this video, which is the hunger part. Remember that part, that was very important. Everything in this video has a purpose. So, when you fast for longer periods of time, your cortisol is going to spike, and so your fight or flight mechanism is going to go to fear, and so you're going to be stressed out, okay? And because you already have such a high level of acidity and stress in your body, your tinnitus is going to go up because it's putting more stress in your body, okay? Remember? Makes sense, right? Your hunger is, when you're hungry, your body forces your adrenal glands to secrete cortisol, and you already got so much cortisol that you're stressed out, and so it's more stress going to make it worse. But here's what's happening on the flip side while you fast. Your body is getting into a state of autophagy, which is when the healthy cells start eating the dead cells, and you want to have more healthy cells than dead cells, okay? So what happens the first time you fast, okay? You're going to feel like shit, your tinnitus is going to get worse, and then remember when we said, and when you finally eat something 3 days later, your fight or flight mechanism is going to drop through the floor, and you're going to feel better and your tinnitus might even go down. Does that make sense? Because your fight or flight mechanism has gone down and you feel better because you're eating something. I really need you guys to get that. That's very important. Okay, so let's go to this diagram here. So let's say you fast for 4 days. Okay, let's say you fast for 4 days. This would be way better with some sort of animation or something. Any animators watching? I've got a job for you. So what happens when you fast? The ratio of dead cells to healthy cells changes. And also anti-inflammatory stuff kicks in and you feel better. Okay, well, you know, it's better for your bodies. But we're just going to focus on the healthy cells, dead cells, for the purpose of simplicity, because it's very complex and there's no way I can draw all that. Okay? So, what happens is these two beams that were lying on the healthy cell situation, they're going to change too because the cells have changed. Okay? And now they're going to be like this. Instead of starting there, they're going to go like this. Because they're going to be leaning down a bit more. And now they're closer together. Okay? That's after about a 4-day fast. You do another 4-day fast. Once again, your hunger is going to tell your body that you need to be more energized and more awake for food. It's going to mess with your circadian rhythm. Your tinnitus is going to spike. And when you eat, you're going to feel better. But the autophagy effect has taken effect once again. So, let's rub this all out. You go down to about here. Okay? And now you've got these bad boys. Once again, these are spectrums. And then you've got the healthy cells and dead cells, and maybe it's about halfway through. And remember, your healthy cells are consuming energy, so your dead cells are taking away brain function and all sorts of stuff that's causing you to be stressed as well. So now we're here. And you do another 4-day fast. Okay? And this is your third 4-day fast. And once again, your tinnitus spiked. But maybe we'll put it there this time. You get the idea. Dead cells, healthy cells up here, and we'll just say there's nothing there, okay, it's just an empty space. Dead cells, healthy cells, alkaline, fear. And then you do it again, and this time, oops, ba-ba-ba-boom. Actually, we won't do it like that. Do it like this. Now they started to join up, and this isn't really scientifically what happens, but it's a great metaphor to understand. You don't need to be a scientist to understand this. Okay, now they're touching, and so this time you do a 4-day fast. It doesn't spike, it starts to go down. Okay, your tinnitus starts to go down because the autophagy effect and inflammation is actually getting lower, and instead of your cortisol spiking up so much, it only spikes up a little bit, and it's no longer in that phase where it's too much cortisol, it's just what the body intended, so it doesn't cause your tinnitus to spike. And because fasting is anti-inflammatory and you're getting rid of the bad cells, your tinnitus will start to go down day by day when you're fasting. Okay? When you're fasting for 4-day, 5-day intervals, and you take a break, you fast again, each time now, your tinnitus is going to get quieter and quieter and quieter, and will actually get louder when you eat again. So now it's switched. Now let's say you do one more 4-day fast, and it's more complex than this, guys, there's more to it, but this is the basic gist. Let's say you do another 4-day fast, and the dead cells are you can't get rid of every dead cell, it's just ridiculous, but these two things, the two spectrums, go and they join up. Okay, this isn't really what happens, but it's a metaphor. It's a fantastic metaphor as far as I'm concerned. And so you've got alkalinity over here, which is good, and then you've got your fear over here, which is what you don't want, okay? And then, or your fight or flight, I should say. So awareness, okay? So now you're about here, and your tinnitus is basically gone, or it's either gone. So from this point onwards, every time you eat sugar, you get stressed out, a family member dies, you take medication because for some reason you just absolutely have to, you're hungry or you fast, you safely go up the spectrum towards, I'll just change that actually, towards alertness, because your body, remember, is still running on the obsolete wiring and saying, hey, get some food, get some food. You safely go up the spectrum, and as soon as you eat something or you get rid of the stress of your life, you go straight back down. Something happens, straight back down. Something happens, straight back down. What used to happen was, or what has happened to you, that's tinnitus, that red line is tinnitus, is you would, excuse me, you would go up and then go back a little bit, and then go up and go back a little bit, and go up and go back a little bit. And then eventually you do that until you get tinnitus. Why is that? Because you're eating every day. Let me give you this one last metaphor, okay? Well, let me give you this one last metaphor. Say you've got a car. You've got a car windshield, right? And you throw mud on it. Let's say the windscreen wipers are always running in perpetuity, which means forever, okay? And you throw mud on the car. Doesn't matter what kind of mud you're throwing on the car windshield, okay? Doesn't matter if it's the cleanest, healthiest mud made of Fiji water and raw vegetables. You throw it on the windshield's going to get dirty. If you throw rocks and sand and you piss on the windshield and it's disgusting, the windshield's going to get dirty. Doesn't matter what you put on the windshield, it still needs to be cleaned. It could be window cleaner. It could be window cleaner. It still needs to be cleaned off with the windshield wipers, right? Anything at all. Now, if you stop throwing shit on the windshield for 5 minutes, like 10 seconds in this metaphor, eventually the windshield wipers are going to do what they were solely designed to do, which is clean the glass, okay? Clean the windshield. Now let's back that up and let's imagine that the glass is your fight or flight system, your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, okay, all that stuff. And let's imagine that those windshield wipers were your cells, okay? And they're trying frantically to clean themselves and heal themselves, but you just keep putting shit on the windshield. You just keep putting shit non-stop. It never gets a break. Doesn't matter how clean it is. You could blend up flowers. You could, I don't even know, you could get like a whale tears or something like that. You get the cleanest water from the Alps and put stuff on it. It needs to get cleaned off. I really hope that makes sense. I also want to say one last thing, and that's thanks for watching this video very much. I really do appreciate that. The second thing is I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to medical school. I don't have any medical certifications, so you need to consult your doctor or your local healthcare professional before you take any action based upon any of my steps presented in this video today, okay? Or any of my emails or anything like that, okay?